Huh? I think, yeah, I believe we're ready.
Yeah.
Ready?
Go.
We're good. Okay. Just want to do a 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go. Huh? Okay. We'll do 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, guys. So this is Sonic Boom Rides the Lyric. This is a wonderful game. The first two things I'm going to go ahead and explain are going to be two glitches that you're going to see a lot of. One being a universal glitch that is pretty common through all the characters, and one being is Sonic exclusive. We're just going to be doing this auto run section, so I'm just going to use that time to fill in because you're going to see them back to back pretty quickly. The first thing that's for all characters is the super bounce. So essentially, the main thing in this game is going to be pausing. By pausing the game, you can really pretty much cancel every animation in the game and get various effects from it. Whenever you do a ground bounce with any sort of character and hit either an enemy or a breakable object, anything like that, and you pause at the right time on the recovery animation, you will get a huge amount of momentum sent upwards. So basically, you just channel all this momentum and cancel the animation. The game doesn't know what to do with it because it's tied to the animation. So we can use that to get to a lot of higher up areas, and it's very handy for going out of bounds and all sorts of cool stuff. The spin dash jump is basically the same way. It's horizontal. So we charge the spin dash with Sonic, pause, unpause, and right when he releases his momentum and starts running instead of spin dashing, you're able to jump, and he will just go flying. Okay, first try, that was good. So we're going to go out of bounds. And perfect. Okay, cool. So right here, we're going to skip a big chunk. I'm actually going to skip a very important trigger. Okay, that's why I'm going to save this real quick. Watch out, Tails. They have swords. And that will... that'll work. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a bit sloppy, but it worked. So when you notice, if I go over here, see all that white? That is not loaded anymore. I've skipped it. So what we're going to do is, even though you can't see it, there is a magical tomb. Oh my gosh, look at that. So we're going to save and load, and we're going to go back into it. The reason why I do this is because once I enter that tomb like that, there's no way to continue without actually hitting a cutscene trigger, and it's going to take a bunch of time, and you get locked in these 2D levels with Sonic. We don't want to do any of that. So I'm actually going to save and load, and it pops me back in with the intended character that I'm supposed to be controlling in this section with his Knuckles. For anyone who happened to see in this game, even day one, all of you are probably familiar with a very infamous glitch, which, interestingly enough, we actually don't use that much in the run anymore, is the infinite high exploit with Knuckles. So it's very simple. Again, pausing animation pausing the game cancels an animation. Knuckles is the only one who can do it again.
Yeah. So
and again.
This is his like dive kick attack, and when he starts it off, he jumps up just a little bit, and then when you pause, it cancels the animation, and he can do it again for some reason, which is weird because no other character in the game can even do their dive kick twice when you pause cancel, except for Knuckles, and his is the only one that also gives you height. So, yeah, it's pretty broken, but it's also very slow, as you noticed.
Yeah, it's very slow. We've actually gone back and optimized a lot of things with the run to use Sonic instead of Knuckles in a lot of places, but it is very resource intensive, which I'll get into later, and it's much riskier, but it's a lot more fun. Fights are fights. This game is the worst brawler I've ever played in my life. It's just, you do a combo, you dash away, you do a combo, you dash away. Right there, the AI will just do stuff, more or less. Right there, you're supposed to kill 2 enemies, and then a third enemy will, the trigger will load. That will let you destroy the statue. Sometimes the AI will just grapple the big guy in the middle and throw him for you, because he takes a lot longer to grapple and kill. Other times they won't do anything. So it's, time loss and time gain is very random there for the most part. And for the rest of the section, we're just going to go onto one of these auto run sections, which I don't know if I mentioned this already, but there's really nothing to them. Any of these interbeam rail sections or the auto run sections, you can't speed them up. You can't really do anything with them.
You don't even really have to like try to survive because you almost can't die on them.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. So we're just going to do that and then load into the hub world. So this is actually a good time for any donation reading if you want to go ahead and do that.
All right, so first here we got a $50 donation from Tank S60. AGDQ 15 was the first event I watched, and I'll be watching them all from here on out. Great event for a great cause. We got another $50 from SOG. Always hyped when it's time for GDQ, and I can't wait to see Tetris the Grandmaster block again. Sad to see there's no Worcester, he'll be missed. Fingers crossed we'll get to see an any % blindfolded Pokemon Stadium run at a GDQ sometime soon. We had a $500 donation from Garaseth. It just says keep up the good work, and we intend to do that. We have a $50 donation from the Relaxed One. First time I have the money to give to this great event and charity. Keep up the great work, as this week will make me a sleep-deprived zombie, but at least one that's entertained all the way through. Peace and love to you all. And a $50 donation from Uric the Oddball that just says good luck to everyone today. I echo those sentiments. Good luck to everyone. And lastly, we have here 200 from the Ferret King. Love these events. Keep up the good work.
All right, so this is the first of the 2 hub worlds. We're not going to spend very much time in this one, but you'll see we're going to optimize a lot of our movement by using Sonic. Right here, we've got a pretty cool trick coming up. Nice.
That was very good.
Do you want to explain that a little bit, Dax?
Yeah, so basically all you do is, again, this game is built around just canceling momentum in different places and holding momentum. By jumping before you hit the bounce pads, you just hold that momentum from the ramp, and it lets you just continue it. So once I actually go into the double jump and hold it with tails, it lets you hold the flights, and you can kind of access that separately. That's all right. So this whole area right here, it may be obvious, but I'm not supposed to be here, or trying to at least get here. We're actually, there's this whole like hub world thing, and there's all these levels, and that's dumb. So I'm just actually going to go to the second hub world. Right here, you're going to see a ton of awkward pop-in and also awkward camera angles. Right there, that was the game saying, oh, well, you're supposed to be here, so you have this ability called higher dashing, you have all this stuff, and we're also going to give you the trigger to go to the bygone because you can't have gotten here any other way. Because cool game design. So we're just going to go straight to the second hub world, and that's really all there is to it for that part. There is this guy named Cliff. You're going to see in a moment. I have no idea what he is supposed to be. Maybe you can tell me. But I call him Foxy Grandpa. Fortunately, we can't skip any of these cutscenes. Any of the like little in-game cutscenes like these with dialogue we can't skip, but there's not really too many of them. For the most part, just about everything we can skip.
So you feeling that first spin dash jump just trying to show off the drowning sound?
Yeah, let's go with that. So again, we're just going straight to the second hub world. So that skips about, I would say, like 3 or 4 stages, something like that. A couple side missions, a bunch of stuff. You're supposed to grab a crystal, go to another door, grab a crystal, go to another door. We don't need to do that. So.
Just to remind everyone, you're watching Summer Games Done Quick 2015, a speedrunning charity marathon in support of Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders is an international medical humanitarian organization that provides aid in nearly 70 countries to people whose survival is threatened by violence, neglect, catastrophe, primarily due to armed conflict, epidemics, exclusion from healthcare, natural disasters, or malnutrition. MSF provides independent and partial assistance to those most in need. And MSF reserves the right and more stuff from our website that is on there. So definitely go check that out, gamesdonequick.com and Medicine Sans Frontières.
So this is Ghoul's favorite skip, if you want to actually go ahead and explain that.
Yes, this is called a vomit skip. So right here, this guy's a politician, and he's going to really annoy us with like a 45-second cutscene. But as a safe measure, the game doesn't let other characters do cutscene triggers for you. So you're not a party member. So what you do is you have Sonic do the spin dash, so he jumps past him, and then you swap over to Knuckles, and then back to Sonic once you're past the cutscene trigger. So.
Yeah, you waste about 1:10. Right here, this is a really cool method. I believe Darkspawn Sonic actually found this. Originally, to get over this whole area, we're going to the third last level, by the way. Originally, to get to this level, we had to use Knuckles, basically, and just like fly over. Whereas now, we can use Tails. Unfortunately, I wasn't doing that trick properly. That water plume can be kind of random. There is a setup to get up here with the right height, but it's pretty iffy. And this all just has various areas of collision that I'm able to walk on. None of it really makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm just going to skip straight to here. It doesn't actually matter. Yeah, I can bonk that. It doesn't actually matter if I grab it. The game will load. So the whole idea, yeah, thank you. The whole idea with that is that, again, once again, you're supposed to have a crystal. You go to this little switch, the bridge loads, and it's like, oh, you can go level. But the trigger is conveniently over there. And that's how it's programmed, so we're able to continue with that. That is about the last you're going to see of Tails doing anything except for this one little part in this level I'll show later. So this is Creeper Gorge. This is really the hardest part. This level can just be a huge jerk. It's very long, a little bit drawn out.
That was easy.
You use Sonic and Knuckles for the first part of the run, or first part of the level. You use Tails and Amy for the second part. So you actually do get to see quite a bit of character variety with it, as well as a lot of cool Amy stuff. And coming up right here is going to be, this is going to be a really good example of the, I guess when it comes to super bounces in a lot of areas, there are some parts of levels where you only have a limited amount of resources, and you can spend a lot of time having to retry the super bounce over and over again to get up. And there'll be other areas, like in this case, where I only have about 2 to 3 tries, depending on how the debris breaks, to actually get up there. I can still fly all the way up there, but it's going to take about 15, 16 pauses with Knuckles, and it's very, very slow. So the idea is to get to super bounce and then fly the rest of the way. So right here. And first try, good job.
Yeah, that was nice.
As far as super bouncing goes, as far as the timing goes, it's very iffy to judge it because the frame rate of this game is just, it chugs. Like this game is not optimized in any way. CryEngine 3 is not meant to run on a Wii U. So it can be very difficult to judge what the exact timing is, especially when the game frame rate drops to really horrible levels during fights, and super bounces become trickier.
Right. It's also tricky because the enemies are moving, and you don't necessarily know exactly when you're going to hit that trigger for when you can do the super bounce. And
right.
It's a relatively small frame window. It's probably 2 or 3 for a good bounce.
Yeah, you can be frame perfect to get like a crazy good bounce, but for an optimal one, it's probably like a 3 frame window, I would say, 4 frame window. But it's very tight, and just again with the inconsistency of the game and the way it chugs and the way it runs, it's really hard to get perfect ones every time. But there are visual cues, and it kind of depends on the character.
You usually know when you get one as soon as you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, with Sonic and Knuckles, I can tell. With characters like Amy, who is very fast, you'll see this in just a bit. It's difficult to tell. Right here, Ghoul, if you want to kind of explain what I'm doing here, I'm actually going to focus a little bit.
Right, so he's going to try to do a super bounce up to the top of this platform, and then he's going to use Sonic to do a spin dash jump to get across this giant ravine. It's going to skip a huge ender rail section. And basically, ender rails are really slow, and being able to just jump over stuff with Sonic is pretty quick. So that's the general idea. So see, he's doing a homing attack on these enemies, and then he's doing the bounce attack, which is, it's kind of a setup that makes it easier to hit the enemy and get the bounce animation.
Okay, so here's the tough one.
Throw these flying pests into the wall.
Just barely. That's a really tough one. I could have actually saved it, but I really thought I could make it, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's 2 ways of doing that. You can either land directly on top of that platform, or you can pull up and land in front of it and do another spin dash jump if you don't feel confident in it.
Yeah, that one I'm not confident
see right
in.
there, he's just going to stop and take the double jump.
Yeah, so there we go. We made it. Also, the placing is it's very awkward in the spot that I'm actually spin dashing from. If there's any land that's rounded in a lot of ways or where there's a lot of edges, it makes it very difficult for Sonic to have a good footing to spin dash on. If you actually try to spin dash off a ledge, the game won't let you, so you just simply can't.
Yeah,
so the smaller the ledge is, the less likely you're going to be able to get a successful spin dash. Like if you're right up to the edge, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fail-safe. It's the game trying to make sure you don't just spin dash off a ledge. And when you're trying to get the momentum, if you don't get it from the spin dash itself, obviously canceling it to keep momentum isn't going to do anything.
Right here, you can actually mash dodge roll, and it has infinite invincibility if you just mash it, because that's cool. But it's faster to spin dash through it. Right here, I skipped a whole chunk of stuff, and I'm actually supposed to have Amy and Tails right here. And I went so fast that Sonic and Knuckles are busy having like 2 conversations from a different part of the level. So I'm sorry, you have to listen to that. Did I mention that characters don't stop talking? Because they don't. They really, really don't.
Good timing, Knuckles, on that one.
That's probably a good time for this donation from Draco Dan, which says, never seen Sonic Boom gameplay before, but I'm already laughing at this game way harder than I should be. Shoutouts to my boy Ghoul on the couch. We have another one here from Yaru Sanai, $20. It says, I didn't even know there was a summer event. Amazing to see, because since January I have been starving to see more. Great event for a great cause that I always love to support. Greetings from Germany, and in my opinion, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric should be titled Sonic Boom It's No Use. Keep on rocking.
So right here, you're supposed to actually break down this wall with missiles, but you can just kind of jump off the wall and then get a triple jump and just jump right over it.
There's also 2 Eggmans for some reason.
Yeah, if you look at the background, 2 Eggmans. This game is very well optimized,
Yeah.
if you can't tell by now.
Amy can actually be a little fun to control in places. She has a triple jump. She just feels pretty solid with her character. It's very simple. I'm going to go for a little trick right here, if I can get it.
As bad as this game is, Amy is actually
Got
fairly
it.
well designed.
Okay, that's actually pretty tricky to do. Just timing the jumps properly off that pole, you can get up there. So here's a really cool thing. There are certain opportunities when you can change to a party member. For example, like if you're either standing idle or you're just moving around. If you're in the air, you can't, but if you're doing an air attack, you actually can. So what I'm going to do here, try to get a super bounce up here. Okay, good, first try. I'm going to hold Amy so she stays there. Kill myself with tails, and he's going to spawn up there, and there we go. So that was actually really, really good. Really, really clean. Sometimes tails can get stuck in an animation, and you'll have to go back to Amy in order to keep her in position. By charging that hammer attack and switching the tails, it keeps her in place to prevent her from actually walking off the edge. And that skips that whole fight that Amy takes quite a bit of time to kill. Wow. And that is very, very good. That saves about 15 to 20 seconds, depending on how quickly you can get up there. Those vines that were right below me, you can actually walk up them. Some of it will hurt you, some of it won't.
But they do like 5 rings of damage.
Yeah, you can just bounce up to it. But if you manage to get the bounce on that chest, then it saves quite a bit of time. Again, Amy's super bounces, when she puts out her hammer, it kind of lowers her attack hitbox a little bit, and she's also faster in general. So you still have to delay the timing a little bit, but the speed and velocity at which she attacks is different. So everyone kind of has their own timing that you have to adjust to. You don't really have to do it with Tails, but with everyone else, it's a thing.
Yeah, Tails doesn't get hyped from super bouncing. He's the only character that doesn't. Sonic and Knuckles' timing is very similar. And this, there we go. That
was very good. That was very good. So that section will just destroy you. If you did not get it first try, you see that blue aura around all the enemies? It kind of puts them into this invincible state, and it becomes very, very difficult to deal with it.
It also lags the crap out of the game.
The game will just chug, and once again, it'll make it very, very difficult to get the input. So to get it after like 3 or 4 tries, that's very, very solid.
Usually if you don't get it first try, you just don't get it for like 8 tries or something.
You get it first try, or you lose 30, 40 seconds. That's typically how my runs go.
Yeah, that's kind of why Creeper Gorge is really kind of the part of the run. You just kind of go, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. If you get out of Creeper Gorge ahead, then you're in there. Kind of, sort of.
I'm starting to think we shouldn't be here. Duh.
We've got $100 from DumbName420. Shoutouts to Dave Lang and Team GFB. Dive kick is so sick. $20 from Anonymous that says, I worked on Sonic Boom. This is what happens when you have only one QA tester. Thanks for at least making it fun to watch. And we have 4258 from Q103. OP, 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 OP.
OP, OP.
So right here we've got fight Eggman. It's a relatively straightforward boss fight. He's going to throw some missiles at us. We're going to throw them right back, and then we're going to punch him to death.
More or less, yeah. The only iffy thing about this is that he has 3 cycles where after you throw 4 missiles at him, he'll go into a state where he can be pulled down and use the inner beam, that grapple thing that you've seen, to pull him down. And unfortunately, enemies can come up and bop you out of that, and you'll have to start the whole animation over again. And it takes quite a bit of time to do that. Enemies can also, attack you when you're trying to throw missiles as well. So it's really ideal to give yourself a good placement. The reason why I use Tails here is that he has these things called buddy bots, and they're essentially his special move. And he puts these little robots down, and sometimes they'll go after enemies, sometimes they won't. It's not the best thing. But it's kind of helpful to put out in places and to just kind of hope for the best. But oftentimes it's really easy. It's really better just to try to run away as much as possible.
There's nothing else really useful you could do, so you might as well just try for the buddy bots and see if they maybe do something useful.
Yeah. There's usually a little downtime in the fight to where you can put them out. There's no reason not to, just for safety. And that's really, I mean, you're more than you're more than welcome to say more donations, because I have 2 more phases of this. That's really it.
All right, well, we've got 50 bucks from Mesa Dine. Love SGDQ and gamers presenting the fine communities out there. So much fun to the runners and a healthy donation to charity. Oh, and hearts for the chat. We have $20 from Patros607. Super Boost Ring. With the first Sonic block, I fulfill my duty as a model citizen and send $20 to a good cause. Keep up the good work, and for my final words for now, Boost Pad. DatStream gave $50 and said, from your boys at DatStream, good luck on your Sonic Boom Run Dax. We still have that embarrassing picture of you at the Christmas party. We have $50 from Funky Honky. I've been watching Speedrun since I was first introduced to them almost a decade ago. It has been amazing watching the community grow and become such a fantastic force for good. I'm really glad that I'm going to watch as much of this as I can. Work and sleep do get in the way, but I'm going to do my best to provide as much free publicity as I can. Chrono Trigger that isn't 100% isn't Chrono Trigger. And on that note, that's our first mention, or at least my first mention, of the Chrono Trigger 100% incentive. We got to raise $65,000, I believe, by the end of the marathon to see that. And as Funky Honky said, Chrono Trigger that isn't 100% isn't Chrono Trigger. Shout-outs to that. Shoutouts to that Sonic block. So we got about 30K during that Yoshi's Island run. Let's see if we can get another 30K during this Sonic block. We got a few more games after this, so come on, Sonic fans, let's get in those donations and say that Sonic's better than Yoshi. I mean, shots fired.
I love how Knuckles is just standing there.
Yeah, he's just chilling out. You got it. You're good. Yeah, for that whole sequence, all you just do is mash buttons, and it goes to this little cinematic animation. There's really not much to it. The main reason why we actually come this level, that's my favorite quote. The main reason why we come to this level in the first place is to get that. That crystal is very important. The only reason we need it is because it's the only way to trigger the next level, being Sky Citadel. And once you go into Sky Citadel and you beat that, it takes you straight to the very last level. So we have to do Creeper Gorge before it. I would certainly love not to have to do Creeper Gorge. Dark Sonic, if you can find something for that, please. Please, 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 please. And going from here, we're just going to do more upward movement. We're going to go straight back. We're actually going to skip Obama once again. I'll do what you want to call him, Donald Trump now.
He's Donald Trump.
He's Donald Trump now. So we're going to skip him, and we're just going to go straight to Sky Citadel. Sky Citadel is kind of a nice breather after Creeper Gorge. Actually, it's strictly Knuckles and Amy, and so you will see a healthy dose of the Infinite Eye exploit as well as some cool Amy shenanigans. And here I can get kind of like right up on him. I don't really have to space it out.
The trigger is in front of him, so but it like doesn't extend behind him at all. So you just basically stand right on top of him and just like do the swap from there. So you'll notice right now he's been going through this hub world with that spin dash, and it's actually causing the game to not load things properly. So there's supposed to be like 8 buildings over there, and like the collision's still there for them. So yeah, it's really fun the first time I did this run, and I got lost because I couldn't figure out a way around the buildings.
Yeah, the camera will get caught on the collision there, so I try to kind of space myself away from it. Something that's kind of unfortunate, and one of the major inconsistencies about running this game is that the game lags a lot. You can see that. The pause screen can lag as well. It'll either eat inputs or it'll delay something. It becomes very problematic. So if you ever see me fail a spin dash, more than likely it's because you're seeing the pause screen chug a little bit, and it's just throwing off my timing. But other times I'm just bad, so that's okay. And again, just Knuckles and Amy. So this is going to be kind of a breather. No spin dash jumps. No power bounces. Really, it's a lot less technical, but I think it's still definitely one of my favorite levels to look at.
It's kind of a nice breather after Creeper Gorge, and then going into Lair, which is...
Right here, I'm actually going around this in a certain way, just to make sure that Amy comes up with me in a certain way.
That worked. The door's opening
So
now.
I'm going to bounce here, switch, and then Amy is up here waiting for me. The whole reason that we're actually doing this instead of just jumping over the door or something with Knuckles is that I need to trigger this door to open. That's going to have certain things load afterwards. And if I don't do that, I was trying to mess with some momentum there. After I do that, it'll cause other levels in the load, other areas in the level to load properly as well. We're actually going to skip a big chunk of it, so you're going to see a lot of areas that are not loaded, but the collision is, and eventually we can make it to the end of the level. If we skip this whole section, it'll get to the point where stuff just won't be loaded at all, and we won't be able to continue. So a healthy amount of the exploit here.
So you'll see a little bit right there. He's actually not doing it as quickly as possible. He's not trying to gain height. He's trying to gain distance. So to gain the most distance possible, he's actually like basically just going up and then just letting himself fall back down to the same height.
I'm gonna go this way.
So it's slightly faster than just immediately doing it.
I'm just going to go under this. This is this is very odd looking, I'll admit. And so yeah, so the faster I do it, I'll be able to gain height. If I'm ever like falling from a distance or trying to gain a lot, or just move forward, I'm going to slow it down a lot.
Bounce pad.
Bounce pad.
We have $50 from Anonymous. Finally managed to watch a GDQ from the start. This is the first time I'm seeing Sonic Boom live in all its glory. Looking forward to a fun week of speedruns.
So right here, we're heading on up towards this. We're about to do a pretty cool little glitch with Knuckles. It's used a lot more. This is the unpatched version of the game, so this is 1.0. 1.1 has a couple of differences. The main ones being it patched out Sonic's spin dash, jumping, and it patched out the infinite height exploit. So what we have to do to get speed from a standstill is what he's going to do right here, where he's pausing right here, which is buffering, and he's building momentum right now with Knuckles, and then he's going to hold the punch button and then pause to cancel the animation, and it's going to send him flying forward like you saw right there.
Yeah, based on how close you are to the ledge and how many times you actually pause, it'll just make it go faster. You can actually go very, very fast, but because of that angle, it's kind of awkward to double jump and adjust yourself through the door. I probably could have been a little closer to the ledge. I could have done one or two more pauses, but you also have to worry about the spikes that are rotating around that room.
So this is the real Sky Citadel. We have nothing but Sky.
Yep, that's all I need.
All the collision detection is actually loaded here, and for some reason, these random plants actually load.
It works as a great visual aid. I almost want to think that it's intentional. It's not, but I like the hope.
Yeah, so basically, we've skipped so much now that the game just isn't loading the textures for anything.
We're supposed to actually have Sonic and Tails in our party now, and we do this whole like fight thing and all this other stuff. So I'm just going to go straight up here, and if I can set this up properly. Again, everything is loaded, including the rails, the inner beam rails. And there it is.
There we go.
Right, those two rails that I just skipped to is very important. If you don't skip to them, you will fall for a very long time and go all the way back to where I actually started that whole sequence where I bounced up and went along that platform. And again, this is what I was talking about. So there are a lot of areas that we've tested where we would skip so much stuff that eventually the game wouldn't have anything left to load. Conveniently enough, this area is, so that allows us to skip a lot of stuff and still make it to the end of the level. This right here is just a button. I have to hit it in order to load this little site right here. That
You're supposed to kill all the enemies and stuff,
yeah.
but you could just Knuckles up there.
I got this.
Everyone, we have to reach that plane. It's our only way out.
You get me there.
Right here, we've got a little auto run section before we head into the final area.
Danger ahead.
Yeah, if you want to read some donations here, that'd be a good time.
Last one to the plane gets left behind.
It is a good time because we have $50 from Alba. Papa Alba says hi. Love you, Dax. It's great to see you've made it to the big leagues. Ape Escape 2 run
Way
when?
out. Hurry.
You got $10 from Grim Aeon. Props for finding the perfect use for a buggy game. Watching your run has been great, great, great. $25 from Darkness Zero. I get home from work and there's only one thing to do. Watch SGDQ. With so many great games in their queue, some old, some new, I can't think of any reason not to view. So here's to all of you. Of course, Doctors Without Borders too. So without further ado, take this money and turn the Metroid animals to stew.
So right here, we're going into the final level, Lyrics Lair. It's actually a personal favorite of mine. It's basically kind of formatted in a way of here's a small auto run section, here's some platforming, small auto run section, platforming. So it goes pretty quickly. I've gone back and changed a lot of things in this, and there's another runner as well, Device 233, who actually had the record for a bit as well. Got it back recently, and we both kind of do a lot of different optimization. If I can do this properly.
Aren't fully rebooted yet.
My timing's a little off. There we
There
go.
we
Sorry
go.
about that. Anyway. Oh gosh, what was I saying?
You were talking about you got the record back from.
Oh, right. Okay, so we've gone back and re-optimized a lot of this to use Sonic instead of Knuckles. Again, Knuckles is convenient because you can just fly it to places, but it is quite slow. And having the spin dash jumps can be just very, 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 very nice. The only problem is that because Sonic doesn't really have a flight to, or any sort of height exploit to get up to these areas that he can, we have to rely on our resources that we have to super bounce up there. And again, like I said, there's some areas where you have a lot of enemies, where you have a lot of opportunities to do it. Some areas you have very limited resources, and you kind of have to go with what you have. So failing bounces in those situations can be very detrimental.
Right. So like there's spots where you'll have like 3 crates, and doing the super bounce will break the crate, but he only has so many opportunities before he has to switch over to Knuckles for the infinite height. The good thing is for a marathon setting, he does have Knuckles, and he can always use the infinite height exploit and then hop right back to Sonic afterwards. But
that wasn't good. I can actually use these switches as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and go for this. It's a little bit trickier to time. There we go.
The switches are really tricky, actually. I'm impressed he got that.
Yeah. Oh. Let's go for a backup. Or not. There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, you can use Knuckles to like kind of walk out of bounds and or fly up and all that stuff, but it is a little bit slow. So I tend to go with the more fun strats. They're a lot riskier and it can be really time consuming if you fail it, but it's a lot more enjoyable. This is the this puzzle. I don't even know how I did this casually. I don't even know how to put this in the game. Oh, it's not okay. And right here, I'm just going to use this guy. These little worm dudes can use that armor essentially, and he'll turn into basically just a big enemy. But using him before, when he's still a shell, I can conveniently power bounce onto him.
I think we're getting close.
I think that one's good. Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
So right here, there's this whole little run, Mach speed section where I run around the whole arena. I'm going to skip to the very end of it. This one's quite a sketchy jump. Fortunately, I failed that. If you mess up the jump or you're too low, there's some collision right there that you'll hit. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through it this way. Essentially, you'll just you kind of spin that jump over to the very end of it and just load in.
It's a giant loop. So like he's going to do this. He's going to like jump over to the left side. He's going to run that circle. It's going to jump him over to the main platform. He was just going to skip this whole part of it and then jump to the last part. So it's a small optimization, but it is worth doing.
Right. And again, that room in particular, the reason why I didn't go back and do it is because you only have about 3 or 4 computers to actually super bounce off of. Once you're out of those, you can't get back up there anymore. So I just went ahead and went this way instead of spending extra time to try that.
Emergency switch, and you guys take it from there.
We got $30 from EPM. I realized while watching that this game is basically Bubsy the Hedgehog and felt the desire to share that insight along with this cash. Nerdzilla gives $20 and says, watching this SGDQ with my 2-month-old son for the first time. My hope is that AGDQ and SGDQ become a tradition for us as he grows. Who knows? Maybe someday he'll be running. Thank you for putting on such a fantastic event.
I'm sorry I had to subject your 2-month-old son to this game. I apologize. There we go. So again, I'm just skipping a fight and just going straight to the Mach speed section. It's kind of interesting how some of this works. A lot of these lasers, some of them have hitboxes, some of them don't. Some hurt you, some don't. Don't really know why that is. Just I think they just kind of forgot to program them.
In other words, it's Sonic though.
Yes.
This is what speed looks like.
If you ever question anything in this game, just say, it's Sonic game.
Watch out. Can't slow Sonic down. It's like these tracks were built for me.
$30 from Kazagoroshi. Thank you for finally making Sonic Boom something that can be enjoyed. I love this event. Greetings from Germany.
Yeah!
Sonic's happy about it. Yeah, Germany, yeah.
Captain Hanyu gives $20 and says, hey, awesome SGDQ so far. Have been an avid watcher for years, and this is my 2nd donation. If this actually gets read out loud, I want to greet my whole Twitter timeline. Would be no SGDQ fun without you. Also, greetings from Germany. Shout outs to his Twitter timeline.
So right here is the final platforming section. And again, I'm going to be using Sonic for this. So if I can get up here. All right, first try, good.
Wow.
That was really good. So there's this whole section that you're supposed to go through, and that's dumb. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to go down here. And there's this stuff, and let's go over there. And oh, look, we did that. Okay, cool.
Nice shooting, Tails. This is what speed looks like.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed this, but they say the same thing a lot. It's
Challenge. Amy for the takedown.
pretty annoying.
So right now the conversation is thinking they're still back in the battles back there. And
Yeah, a lot of times you'll skip over areas, and the characters will just keep having conversations from previous areas.
For the takedown.
Like that. So right here we're at Lyric. The whole way this fight works is that you have 4 areas that you kind of unlock throughout the fight, one being, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Sonic. Sonic being the last one. You're supposed to get through this little platforming area that's designed for their character, and then get the crystals, and then you go and defeat Lyric. Conveniently, though, we can actually use Knuckles to go through Sonic's area, and once we get his crystals, the game thinks that we have all of them, and we're able to defeat Lyric straight up. I don't see how Knuckles feels comfortable in there, but okay. And again, once you'll see Sonic. Okay.
I'm sorry.
now we have to suicide to get back to the arena.
Yeah. And so Amy is going to be the star of the show for the ending. There's actually a 1 cycle in this game. I'm going to try to go for it, and I'm going to be using the hammer. So we're going to see a lot of this.
Amy's a little bit faster than any of the other characters are for this, because her dive's a little bit faster and her hitbox is a bit lower.
Okay, I messed it up a little bit.
Yeah, and he kind of killed you.
Yeah, so he's going to go away.
There's almost no penalty for death in this fight.
There really isn't. You start off with like 20 rings when you die, but you just come back every time. So what happened there was I was a little too close to his head. I tried to adjust myself to where I'd be a little closer to his body, but the timing messed up and I actually landed. And when I did the input for the second hammer, it was on the ground. So it's kind of ideal to get a proper spacing. Like this is a good spot. And I can just keep doing this. And time is actually going to be coming up. So when you see the screen completely fade out and the cutscene starts, right now. It's time? 36, high 36. That's not great, but that's still good. I got to show off everything I wanted to show. Currently, the record is 34.11. I'm going for a 33. It's hard, but yeah, but that's good. Sub 38. That's good. There's that. So I'm just going to skip through this. It's really not important. So how much time do we have left? Because I have a couple things I can show.
We had $10 from Anonymous. This is the correct amount of money to make these Sonic characters stop talking, right? I'm watching the marathon for the first time this year with my girlfriend, and I'm having a blast already. Thanks for entertaining us, and thanks for supporting such a great cause. Do your best, everyone. I believe in you. We got $50 from Stephen N. Says, I love watching GDQ every single year. Such a great community. Can someone explain why they keep pausing Sonic? I must have missed it. Is it because they only had one QA for this game? We had $100 from Murtaza64. Hey, this is my first time watching the event live, and is this the sequel to Sonic 2006? $50 from Hyperbole. Awesome Sonic Boom Run, and can't wait for more. I'll be donating more throughout the week. Keep up the good work.
So I have a couple things to show. Depending on how much time we have, I'll just go through a couple things. So there is so normally when you go through this route casually, you're supposed to do this whole fight with Knuckles. There's a really cool thing that happens when you go in here that you may have seen for a very small second during the run right before I save and load. And let's just say Knuckles has a clone as well as every other character.
It's pretty special if you haven't seen
They're
it.
all very sleepy as well. I fell. Okay. Let's try. Well, let me do this.
This was actually in the original Any Percent where it used to actually do this fight and use Knuckles to jump up over the area.
Okay, there we go.
See right here, he
Could have just done that.
over.
Anyway, so here are my friends. Did you know? Did you know that Amy was once part of the X-Men? I think she is my favorite X-Men. And Sonic's pretty sleepy. Tails is hanging out, and I think Knuckles is irritated about something. He is pretty upset. Pretty upset. Whoa. Okay. Anyway, so what happens? What I thought about was that what happens? We're in the tomb, and now what happens when we go back out? Because everything loaded in here, so I'm assuming everything deloaded outside. And once again, this is a good example of why I spend so much time trying to get Sonic instead of Knuckles in a lot of places. Why are these platforms here? Let's go take a look. If any of you have ever played or ever seen beta levels in games, or a good example, Ratchet & Clank 2 has a Insomniac museum, and you can actually go in and see all of the cool platforms that they use to test the characters. You know, what kind of slopes they want to walk on, you know, what's the largest gap that they can jump, that kind of thing. You know, a lot of things made sense, and I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what is the purpose of some of these, because I personally find them incredibly hilarious.
Well, the giant rectangle is obvious.
Giant rectangle is pretty straightforward. It's a rectangle. You can walk on it. That's cool. This is I don't know, some sort of a runway thing. Got that. There's a that.
It's not uncommon to see if you ever find these in a game, you'll see a slope gradient somewhere.
Who's that?
Where they can see what they can walk up as far as slopes go, but this isn't really that either.
So I think this was to test nothing. I really think some guy was just messing around with in the software, and some guy busted through his door and he was like, "Johnny, we gotta get this done tomorrow. Just raise the map up, It's cool." There's also a wall with an X over it. That's my personal favorite. And yeah, we can also watch Knuckles flex if you want to see that. How much time do we got for? That's it. Okay, cool. All right, that's Sonic Boom, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thanks again to Dax for that impressive Sonic Boom run. Got a few more donations to catch up on here. First is $10 from Big Dog. My boyfriend introduced me to SGDQ last year shortly after we met. He's now my husband, and we're sitting next to each other playing games as we watch again this year. So this donation is for Justin in Fort Francis. $50 from Anonymous. Thanks for entertaining me for the last years. Keep up the good work. $10 from Kaji. Watching AGDQ for over 3 years, always donating but never getting mentioned. We're watching AGDQ for over 3 years, always donating but never getting mentioned. Sad face. Maybe I have more luck today. Greetings to the whole tech team, who always does a great job and gets to a few mentions. Without you guys, the tech team, this would never be possible. Also, shout outs to my friends Nick OCV and Hirauki. Greetings from Germany.